Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us for this summit. I think it's a really wonderful opportunity for our Department of Housing and Human Services, which is about 3 years old, to talk about what it is that they're doing, but to have so many of our partners in the room is really important as well. The work that we do every day in the city of Frederick at its core is about service delivery, whether that's the work of our police department, the work of our Department of Public Works, or the work of Housing and Human Services. And in this particular instance, it's really important work in support of residents in our community who are in need of the important services that HHS is providing, whether that is any of the things that are listed here, from housing to human services to community action and to healthcare. These are all at the core of the mission of HHS. And Rementa has assembled a really fantastic team, and the work that we do in the city of Frederick, we could not do without our partners in the community. It really does take all of us doing our part. And I want to believe and think that the city of Frederick's role in holding a summit like this is to convene people together and build those connections between organizations. It is not in the mission or in the interests of the city to take over the work that our nonprofit partners are doing. But we do need to get together on a regular basis and make sure that we're seamlessly plugging the gaps in that service delivery system and identifying if it's not the city, whose responsibility is it, and if it's not being done, it may be the city's obligation and responsibility to pick that up. So the conversations are really important because the work is really important. And I want to take a moment to say thank you to all of you that work so hard in the human services realm. The people who are serving need what we're providing, and they are among our most vulnerable residents, and we have a moral obligation as a community to make sure that we're providing the support that they need across the continuum that these services are being provided. So you're going to hear really exciting things today about the progress that the city has been making in a number of these areas and the vision that we see for the future of the city as we move forward. We'd like nothing better than at some point, probably in the distant future, but maybe we can make it sooner than we all think, to not have to have a Department of Housing and Human Services, because we will have solved the problem that we're all here trying to spend time fixing. But until that day comes, we're here together and we have this obligation, and we're going to continue to move forward with as much emphasis as we can to address the needs of this community as holistically and completely as we possibly can. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate the team being here and other members of the HHS staff being present for this summit today, but certainly to all of you, our partners, that make the work that we do so important and so meaningful. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. And I think with that, I'm supposed to introduce our Director of Housing and Human Services, Rementa Cottrell.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. And I'll reiterate, thank you all for being here and being interested in our department and learning about our services. And so as Mayor O'Connor said, we are celebrating our 3-year anniversary. Our department, although we have existed for only 3 years, we did undertake services that existed under the Community Action Agency, as well as services under the Planning Department. And so you're going to hear a lot today about some of our historical services, but also some of our planning for the future. And, you know, I want to reiterate as well that our goal is to end poverty. And, you know, I tell the story often. When I interviewed for the position 3 years ago, I asked Mayor O'Connor, what is it that you want me to focus on? And he said, end poverty. And so I said, okay. That's the mission. And, you know, we say that and, you know, we laugh about it because thinking about ending poverty sounds impossible. But I think that, and I stand by the notion that if you work in this industry, if you're not working yourself out of a job, if you're not thinking about ending poverty, then you're probably not in the right industry. And so we try to make that the focal point of just our mission, that we're always looking to in poverty, but also any other services that we think about. We want to make sure that we're feeding the need, but ultimately, long term, we want people to be able to be self-sufficient as much as possible. And so that sounds very radical, sounds impossible, but we're going to continue to make that our primary goal. And I think that when you have a team that we assembled, when you have the backing of community partners, and you have the backing of City Hall, you really can say things like that, and you can set your goals really high. We are very much so committed to continuing to expand our services. We are committed to investing in our frontline staff, who ultimately are the subject matter experts in what we do, and they work directly with the residents within our community. We are committed to addressing historical systemic barriers, such as redlining in marginalized communities. We are committed to making aggressive efforts to address the affordable housing crisis, and we are also committed to having the uncomfortable conversations that really come with our type of service delivery, including systemic and historical events that have really impacted people today, really being able to propel themselves and their families moving forward. We aim to be solving solutions, solving problems and seeking solutions. So when we talk about expanding services, which you'll hear a little bit about today, it's not because we want to continue to say we're the biggest service provider. We're not looking for bragging rights. We are increasing our number served because the needs of the community continue to increase. But ultimately, we want to see that those numbers long-term are obviously decreasing. We're going to talk a little bit about expansion of our footprint, whether that's in brick and mortar locations or just as having a presence in different areas. And again, it's not for bragging rights. We don't need a bigger, better, beautiful building just to have it. We want to make sure that we're focusing on the dignity of what we're providing services to. So when people come to us for anything, you want to feel good about coming into the door. You're already receiving services and sometimes situations that can be very critical or very sensitive. So we want to make sure that people just feel good about when they come to the door, not just the atmosphere, but even in interactions they're having with our employees. So this year's focus, we are going to primarily focus upon our philosophy of service delivery. So again, that's with dignity, but also just making sure that we are uplifting our employees as well to make sure that they really are aligned with our mission. We are also looking at continuing to expand our community partners. And so there's a lot of organizations in the community. We don't do anything alone. And so our role, we look at it as we're either partnering with another organization or we're trying to find different resources or avenues to really help propel them or strengthen their missions, whether that's through some support with seeking financial, whether it's support with really just advocating or helping to advertise what they do. We collectively want to make sure that we're strengthening anything that we do. So you're going to see a couple of things happening this year. One, professional development for our employees. A few things that we want to make sure that we're looking at are anybody who's coming through the door, they really have access to someone who can communicate in the way that they need. A lot of the people that we provide services to, their first language is not English. A lot of our population are speaking Spanish or American Sign Language. And so we have been actively seeking some instructors to help our staff just with some very basic language. So that way a person can at least come through the door and have like a very short conversation so we can at least direct them in the place that they need to go. We do have other avenues to really help us with the struggles with language, but those are two languages that we feel like are really low-hanging fruits, and our staff are really eager and interested in having that type of training. We are also focused on what we're calling our holistic service delivery model, because we know that typically when a person's coming in for services, there's usually somebody in our household who needs help as well. Also, when they're presenting with one area of need, there's usually other things that they need as well. So we want to make sure that if you come through the door, we're going to ask those questions and make sure that we connect you to the right place. We are doing some pretty intensive training next year with our outreach and case manager teams, really to make sure that they're aligned with our mission, but they're also just equipped to know how to help a family not really feel stuck anymore, but really get over that hump. And then, of course, customer service. If you call us, if you come to our building, if you email us, we want to make sure that you just feel good about the interaction that you had. If we can't solve all your problems, we don't look at that being necessarily the primary goal from your interaction, but we want to make sure that you feel good about the interaction and that we made sure that we got you to where you needed to go. We are also continuing to strengthen our partnerships, and so you'll hear a little bit from the division heads about some of the current partnerships that exist. But if you are an organization that is in the same space, we want to know more about you. We want to know how we can help or partner with you, and we want you to know our story so you can also be an ambassador for what the city of Frederick is doing with our service delivery. You're going to hear a little bit about some remodeling construction that we have planned. And again, it's really all about the dignity of the services, but also accessibility. Some of the services that we offer now mainly are in our downtown location. A lot of people that we support may have some trouble with transportation or just it's not close to where they are. So we may look at some expansion of services. We may look at partnering with other organizations in their locations, but that's something that we're really trying to dig deep into this year. Communication is really important. So you're starting to see events such as the summit. This is our second annual summit. Last year we got really, really good feedback from community partners about what they like to see. So we continue to have events like this happening in the community. We are also looking at revitalizing our newsletter to make sure that we are sending that out to our members, as well as updating our website. We are starting to meet with different people. So again, if anyone has interest in anything that you learned about today, we are encouraging you to reach out to our team members and also to invite us out to learn more about you. And then, of course, there's always opportunities to volunteer, join a board or a committee. And so again, we are just really pushing that community engagement in our partnerships. My team is going to speak a little bit about some of our historical services, but they're also going to tell you about some of the things that we are launching next year, including employment services, housing initiatives, and some other initiatives regarding food insecurity. I want to talk a little bit about our health centers. And so you may or may not know that we operate a federally qualified health center, which provides primary health care services to anyone in the community, primarily those who are underinsured or underinsured or not insured at all. And so we have pretty big goals regarding our healthcare initiatives. One, we know that a lot of people that come to our health center currently in our downtown location, they actually live on the west side of Frederick. We also know that we are not hitting every demographic that really needs primary health care services. And third, we know that a lot of people don't even know that we exist. And so we're trying to be very strategic about our efforts in expansion. So one thing that we're doing is we purchased a mobile medical unit. It hasn't really been on the road yet. We brought it out one day to provide some vaccinations. But this is really an effort for us to be able to get out to the community, take it to places where we know that people may need our help, but it'll give us a chance to really just talk about what we can do, advertise, ask some of our community members what they actually need so we can make pretty good strategic efforts to figure out where we should potentially build either another health center in a different location in the city or opportunities for us to partner and co-locate with some other partners. And so we will be announcing a couple of initiatives that we have on the horizon in the next couple of months, but we're very, very excited about that. And lastly, we really prioritize data. As many as you can imagine, anytime you're building programs, you want to make sure that your data inform. And so we are aggressively looking at our data, trying to improve it every day, trying to analyze it to make sure that we're making very, very informed decisions about the people that we're serving. But just to give you a little snapshot, we served a little under 10,000 individuals last year, a little under 2,000 families. And so that tells you that we are a pretty essential service provider. And again, we do a lot of what we do in conjunction with our other partners. So I'm just excited to share our mission. I'm excited for our team to share some of what we've been doing. And I am going to hand the mic to Michelle Ott, which I like to introduce Michelle because Michelle has been with the city for a little over 28 years. And I think just her dedication to the service delivery that we have is enough to give her an applause. And I'm going to pass the mic to Michelle.
Hi, good afternoon. Again, I'm Michelle Ott, the Assistant Director of the Community Action Agency. As Ramenta said, I've been here for a little over 28 years. I started in March of 1995. It's crazy to think how long ago that was and how far we've come as a department over those 28 years. So the Community Action Agency division represents the core and long-standing services of Housing and Human Services. My division oversees homeless services and food and nutrition programs. Homeless services includes outreach, so that's meeting individuals where they are at and trying to address the barriers that they're facing so that they can find stable housing, substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, health care. Case management services, that's all the way from assisting individuals from receiving benefits, again, finding health insurance, finding health care, a medical home, and any other unaddressed needs. And then one of our biggest programs that I'm really excited about where it's going now is our permanent supportive housing program. We currently have 14 units on site. About 4 years ago, we transitioned from a transitional family shelter to permanent supportive housing. So we now support individuals who are chronically homeless and have a disability, whether that's a medical disability or a substance abuse or mental health disability. Our 14 units support 16 individuals. We also have 4 units at 301 South Market, which is right across the street from MSD School, and that supports 6 individuals. This year, for fiscal year 24, we received a grant from HUD to support 5 individuals in 3 units that are off-site. So we're really excited about that, and we're looking to expand that to, another 3 units within the next, hopefully within the next 8-9 months. And then next year, looking to add on to that as well. Our food and nutrition programs, we have the food bank program, and as many of you know, we just recently opened a second location at the Trinity School on New Design Road, and then we also have our main location on East All Saints Street. Our community table, which provides an evening meal to anyone that comes in 365 days a year. Our summer food service program, we provide a free lunchtime meal to any child within Frederick area parks to come, and also any of the adults that come with them. And then we have the backpack program, where it's a partnership with Frederick County Public Schools, where we're providing weekend easy meals for students to have at least a meal and a snack over the weekend. And then we have our child and adult care food program, which is a program that we took over, I believe it's been 5-6 years ago, probably longer, Sarah, where we're supporting local daycare providers within Frederick County and Carroll County. So 2 projects that are going to be coming up within the next year, and again, I said, I was really excited about permanent supportive housing. We received some grant funding to renovate our permanent supportive housing on-site facility. We're going to be making the rooms larger. We're going to be adding a toilet and a sink to each room. So it's really going to just improve the living condition for the residents that stay there. The larger rooms with the additional amenities can greatly improve the quality of life for the residents and provide them with more space and a greater sense of autonomy. So we're really excited about this renovation coming up for permanent supportive housing. Then there's the renovation of the community table. We recently did a rebranding. Many of you know it as the Soup Kitchen. So we started with the rebranding, naming it the community table, and now we've received some grant funding to where we are going to be doing a renovation and modernizing the facility that's been known as the Soup Kitchen. So this project, the primary focus is going to be on enhancing the dining experience and providing dignity to any of those who come in to use the community table. This project will create a more welcoming and respectful atmosphere. And by creating this atmosphere, the community table can help reduce stigma and create a more inclusive space. Anyone can come in to have a meal without feeling marginalized. 2 upcoming events that we have within the next several months is our turkey distribution. That's going to be on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, Tuesday, November 21st, from 2 to 6:30 p.m. at Harry Gross Stadium. We'll be distributing 1,200 turkeys, and we're doing this distribution in partnership with the Spanish-speaking community of Maryland. We were very successful last year in our distribution. We invited many community partners to come out to provide information on the services that they provide to the folks coming through for the turkeys, and so we're doing that again this year, and we're really hoping for an even bigger turnout. We were giving away turkeys last year until the very last minute. And then coming up in January, on January 24th, we'll be having our annual point-in-time survey. This annual survey is done across the United States, and the point is to get a snapshot on the count of people experiencing homelessness and the characteristics of those experiencing homelessness on one single night. It provides a snapshot of the homelessness and is a key part to understanding the scope of homelessness and developing effective strategies to address it. So next up, we have Ruth Waxter, our Assistant Director of the Housing Division.
Thank you, Michelle. Good afternoon. I'm excited to share with you our signature programs, new developments, and our vision for the future of housing in our city. First and foremost, our core housing programs like housing counseling, OHAP, and weatherization focus on supporting current homeowners and keeping owners in their homes. Over the past year, our HUD-certified housing counselors have been instrumental in assisting families who, due to COVID-19, defaulted on their mortgages and were at risk of losing their homes. They connected these families with funding and provided vital housing counseling services that kept them in their homes. At a time when inflation and energy costs are on the rise, many homeowners are not only struggling to make their mortgage payments, but also struggling to pay their utility bills. Our Home Energy Program, or OHAP, provides financial assistance to income-eligible households for paying utility and fuel bills. Our team of 6 dedicated individuals ensures that those in need receive that extra support to keep their homes adequately heated and cooled. Our weatherization team can also assist homeowners with tackling the ever-increasing energy bills by making homes more energy efficient. Energy-saving measures, from sealing air leaks to replacing inefficient appliances, can significantly reduce a home energy bill. During heating and cooling seasons, our team can also repair or replace heating and air conditioning systems for eligible homeowners in need. We are excited to announce a new $340,000 award that we received for weatherization readiness funding. This grant will allow us to make substantial health and safety home repairs, like replacing a leaky roof and mold remediation. Weatherization, in conjunction with essential home repairs, not only saves homeowners money on their energy bills, but also gives them a safer and more comfortable living environment. Our Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG program, plays another crucial role in supporting low and moderate income residents in our community by providing grants to community organizations. This fiscal year alone, we expect to distribute more than $800,000 in CDBG funds to support local service and construction projects in our community. I encourage you to stop by our CDBG table to meet our new grants manager, who will soon be rolling out the next CDBG grant year. We've covered our core programming that supports homeowners. Now I would like to briefly touch on housing insecurity. We understand that providing a continuum of housing options is vital to addressing the diverse needs of individuals experiencing housing challenges. When a family in public housing is able to finally buy their own home, an opportunity opens up for another family to fill the spot in public housing. Our housing division, in collaboration with all of our partners, many of you here, strives to keep this housing continuum flowing towards housing independence. Our 3-year plan to use housing funds will support programs that will assist people at various stages along this housing continuum. We are excited to partner with many community organizations to assist us with using these funds. Recognizing the desperate need for new housing units, over $3 million of housing funds will be used for grants and deferred loans to support affordable housing. These new housing units will include both rental units and homeownership opportunities. Many of you are aware of the sinkhole and other environmental issues that affect the Lucas Village development. The Housing Authority of Frederick will be taking on the monumental task of addressing past economic and racial discrimination in this public housing development. We will contribute approximately $1.5 million in grants and deferred loans to support the relocation of displaced families, the demolition of the current property, and the construction of the new Lucas Village development. This will impact approximately 245 families. GAP funding for other low-income tax credit projects will encourage more multifamily unit rental housing units at affordable rates. Partnerships with Habitat will support home ownership opportunities, which were equally as important. We are providing a grant for Habitat's West All Streets condominium project, which offers 8 new units for sale. In addition to affordable housing initiatives, our housing funds will be used to support programs for homeownership retention, housing rehabilitation, and rental assistance. These programs are essential to our mission to provide housing solutions for all members of our community. In conclusion, the Housing Division is dedicated to make housing more accessible, affordable, and safer for our residents. We are excited to continue our collaboration with our community partners to see the positive impact we all can have on our community. Next up is Erica Rohrbar, our Assistant Director of Human Services, to tell us about her exciting new programs.
Thanks, Ruth. Hello, everyone. My name is Erica, and I have been with the City of Frederick for a little over a year now. I am the Assistant Director of Human Services, and the Division of Human Services goal is to eliminate barriers that might be stopping Frederick's residents from accessing the support services that they need. My staff works very closely with all of the other leadership members you see up on this team and the divisions that they represent to provide robust and proactive services while also identifying new areas for the city to develop programs and build metaphorical bridges. The first and newest addition to our purview is our workforce development arm, which consists of me co-leading the City of Frederick's involvement in the Department of Labor and National League of Cities Good Jobs, Great Cities Academy. This is a really exciting endeavor for not only the Housing and Human Services Department, but also the City of Frederick, as we are able to work closely with leaders in the workforce services domain in Frederick to identify potential barriers for workforce, fill gaps, and also create new pathways to connect Frederick's residents to sustainable employment. In fact, I actually see a lot of familiar faces in here who joined us 2 weeks ago for our really exciting kickoff event. And so I'm so happy and still feeling inspired by the conversations and collaborations that are happening to move the needle in Frederick's workforce realm. And this workforce development work is actually a part of our youth services as well, as it is our connection to Frederick's current 12 to 24 collaborative. It is one of the work groups that fall under that umbrella, including our standing up of a youth council, service mapping, data sharing, and creating a physical space, a hub, a building that'll serve as the permanent location for this work in the future. Our behavioral health office offers services to patients of our health center, including those who are uninsured and underinsured. And we are currently working with our licensed clinical social worker to build capacity, increase those services, and meet the high demand that Frederick currently has for those needs. Finally, we have been successfully offering case management services out of our department for decades, but we are consistently looking for ways to innovate and evolve those services. And I invite you to join us at one of our tables during the breakout session to learn about how those case management services target poverty as it impacts a whole entire family unit. Excuse me. And so we can look at partnership opportunities to see how our case management and the organization that you represent can work together to continue to provide those holistic services to our community. Up next, I'd like to invite our newest member of our leadership team to talk about her program, Ashley Waters, our Senior Assistant Director of Housing and Human Services.
Thank you, Erica. So I like to say that the division that I have the honor and privilege of leading is the sexiest of all of ours because I get to work with money, facilities, data, and all the back of the house stuff that most service providers would prefer not to deal with. But the cool part is that I get to lead a team of people who love doing this work every day because we understand that all of those things allow all of these awesome people in their divisions to do the really, really important work. So we're working really hard to make sure we have a lot of processes and things that make our jobs easier and more impactful and effective every day across our division. But I won't bore you with all the details about grants and finance and blah, 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 because I know you don't want to hear about that. But I do want to hone in on a really important concept that most of the folks have talked about today, and that's holistic service. Our goal is to serve the entire family. So when someone comes in, if they're coming in for food, we can talk to them about health care. If they're coming in because they may have, injured a toe, we can talk to them about a lot of other things that our programs provide. And so today we thought instead of going on and on about our programs individually, it would be great for all of you to talk about how our programs can benefit our families. Because we know when families thrive, communities thrive, and we need to wrap our services around them. So today what we're going to do, and the reason you're at tables, is we're going to pose a case in front of you of a potential family that could be coming to see us. And we have 6 tables, so it's these 6. The one there in the far corner where Danny and Ken and everyone are hanging out, you're going to have to join another table. But you're going to have the chance to go to 3 tables today, okay? 3. So you're going to hear about how services in our department can benefit this family in different ways, okay? So you're going to spend time at 3 topics. You're going to move around. I'll come up here and tell you when to move around. And I only ask that if you're trying to go to table 2, for instance, and it's full during the first session, just make that part of your second or third table rotation so we have good spread out table participation. So you should have the case study in front of you, but I'm also going to read it here for you. And again, this is with the lens of serving an entire family. Sally is a 34-year-old female living in Frederick. She currently struggles with her mental health and paying her bills on time as she has limited income. Her goal is to start saving for a home. Sally's mother, Linda, moved to Frederick 6 months ago from out of state and is currently staying at the adult emergency shelter. Linda struggles with her physical and mental health and has not seen a doctor since moving to Frederick. She has since run out of her medications. Additionally, Sally has an older brother, John. He is stably housed, but is having trouble with sharp increases to his utility bills, rising food costs, and finding childcare when he is working. So today, again, you'll have a chance to learn about our services and how we can support Sally, Linda, and John throughout all of our divisions. So please go ahead and pick your first table. And in about 15-20 minutes, I'll have you come up and you can shift to a new table and look at this case study through a different lens.
So we're interested in hearing some feedback from everyone. I see that we have a lot of engaging conversations. That tells me that you're learning a lot about our programs, and hopefully you're able to give us some feedback. So did we find this exercise to be helpful for you to kind of go around the table and learn about our programs? Awesome. Well, again, I just want to thank you all for being here. And this is one of many different events that we're going to continue to hold, but we're really interested in getting some feedback. And so you'll have an opportunity to complete some surveys or even just to reach out to us via email or give us a call to let us know if you had any ideas or anything that just really came out of these sessions. We are super interested in learning about that. I also wanted to share that if you're interested in learning about just more ways to get involved, we have different volunteer opportunities, some board openings, some different committees that we have. And so you have some opportunities to really connect with us. You should have these scan codes on some of your handouts. And then, of course, anytime that we have events in the community, we try to publicize that. And then lastly, our next big event is our turkey distribution. We're hoping that if you are an organization that provides services, that you're interested in having a table at the event. Last year was the first time that we actually opened it up to some of our nonprofit partners. We had a pretty good turnout. We'll do that again this year. So any organization that wants to show up, the people will come and get their Thanksgiving dinner, but then be able to come around to your table. And so before I close out, just one last shot for any questions or comments. Yes, sir? Yeah, absolutely. And that was feedback that we got from the community, just so you know. So we will continue to do something like that. Thank you. All right. Well, it's 5:30-ish. Hope you all have a good evening. Thank you again for coming to support Housing and Human Services.